Markets in Accra, Kumasi, and Tamale, consumers are complaining about high cost of food and the fact that their budgets are no longer sufficing. Nathan, what can you tell us?
All right, Kofi Nkanda says, Bernard, rice is no longer 5 kg. It's now 4.5 kg.
Oh.
We subconsciously have the 5 kg in mind. So imagine the price increase. This one says 4 pieces of kpatoshito in the white poly is 1 cedi.
Oh, stop it. 4 pieces of kpatoshito. 1, 2, 3, 4 is 1 cedi.
Anyway, in the last 8 years, I have grown my own tomato and I've always had a bumper harvest. In the last 2 years, though, I realized to my shock that even with the same conditions, my tomatoes were failing to fruit. The flowers dried up and they fell off or they got rotten. I have tried everything without success, so I sought help from my friends, some of whom were agri teachers in my school, and as it turned out, they were also having the same issue. I then realized that the variety we're probably using, where the varieties were genetically modified. This means a lot of home or small scale growers are not able to produce anymore, hence the severe shortage. We need to rise against this GM thing, or tomato is going to be just the start. We have the horseman of farming right at our doorstep, and we are welcoming it with open arms. This message.
Hold on, let me comment on this one. It's a major problem.
Yeah.
This issue of seed.
Yeah.
Major. And if you drive along there from Insawam Junction towards Asamankese,
okay,
all the way to Kede, you know, you have a vegetable belt there.
Okay.
You know, where you went to.
Yeah.
And it's one of the major concerns about seed. And the type and quality of seed, you know, available on the market. In fact, it's one of the issues we are addressing with our Greek forum on Friday from Legacy Seed, because they do the seed here, and their variety. I mean, they don't do everything, but maize and a few others, amazing. And then even CSIR. You know, so I think this issue is affecting a lot of farmers.
I'll tell you more about the Friday event.
This one says it's not just tomatoes. The truth is prices have skyrocketed in Ghana. Just look at fuel prices and the exchange rate. The economic team has given up and is now busy campaigning. Silo from Laboni. This one says Konkonte flour, we used to buy half a bag in January for 250 cedis. It's now 450.
Konkonte too.
So in 6 months. Contemporary price has gone up astronomically. Even our roasted corn that used to sell at 2 cedis is now 5 and 7 cedis.
If Conte flour is going up there, then
the Sanemi
flour is
Anthony from Ayimensa.
No, it's cassava.
Cassava, is it getting that expensive?
Cassava, we grow cassava, don't we?
We do.
We transport cassava, don't we? So this transportation question that we have not answered. This transportation and the bad roads in certain farming communities we have not answered. It's not going to. And listen, there's another thing that we all have not observed. Any time, and mark my words, any time that we raise the price of cocoa, other farmers react. Because they think that they also deserve. So they also respond by arbitrarily increasing their prices.
Wow. Charlie Contombreo, roasted corn, Kokonte flour, all Charlie have gone away.
All right. This one says, my brother Bernardino and crew, in all honesty, the guy speaking now has said it all. It's a climate change issue.
The tomato guy.
I use myself as an example. I have a tomato farm, and as we speak, but the tomatoes refuse to bear fruit after growing to maturity. They die off at the stage of bearing fruit. I've tried my possible best this time, but climate change refused to let them bear fruit. That's exactly the issue of shortage. Biahu Cyprian Esquire.
The tomato is not fruiting.
Listen.
So once it's not
I will not blame climate change. Because Burkina Faso too, climate change is happening there.
So you believe it's the seed, the type of
something we are not doing well. It's not just climate change. Burkina Faso, they are in a harsher climatic condition than we are. You get me? So, yes, climate change affects everybody, but there's something we are not doing right. Before we had effective use of agric extension officers into farming communities. I don't know the situation now, how we have integrated agric extension to farming communities. And, you know, because if you talk to an agric person, they'll tell you what's wrong with this situation.
Serious matter. More comments coming in. 054-998-6996.
Okay, this one says, in those days we used to have school farms to support our feeding, but these days are we experiencing the same trends? We complete school and it's as though farming is a punishment. How many universities in this country have farms, and what do they produce?
Good question.
Another message. So far as we continue to depend on rain and sunshine for our agriculture, we'll go hungry with food prices hiking. Climate change is real, so the climate pattern changes will continue to mess our farms up. This is why irrigation is needed. Manual irrigation is even cool, not the drones. We just need the dams and the sources of water. Ghanaians are not lazy. We can work with the manual irrigation systems. Nana Kwame from West Trasacco. Kwame from Soto, we can consider crowdfunding as an option for agriculture, but it's crucial that the companies managing these funds are transparent and honest. If one or two of them fail, it could lead to a loss of trust in the entire system.
More comments?
I'm a farmer in Ada, Koluedo, and Sige. Ada is one of the areas we farm large amounts of tomatoes from May to December. As I speak now, the season has started and nothing is working. Tomato seedlings on the nursery beds are going bad.
Charlie?
If you are lucky to get some for transplanting, after transplanting, they go bad on the farms. The prices of tomato seeds are on a high. Now we can't afford them. The cost of plowing is also on the high. I just listen to the voice of the farmer, and trust me, if things continue like this, the price of tomatoes will never go down, and the time will come where we can't even afford. If you notice, the price of tomatoes is very low from August to December each year due to the large production in Ada. And if Ada is not able to produce this year, then we are in serious trouble.
This guy's farm is in Koluedo and Ada. You know, when you're going to Toko, you pass there. And he's saying that the seedlings are
so
not...
this is the third message
on tomatoes. So it's a problem.
Talking about seed.
He said the thing is not growing. So the first guy said it was climate. The second guy said when they reach fruit, they don't fruit.
Yes.
Now this guy is saying that even the seedlings are
they are just not growing.
They are not like, you know, you plant it.
What they are used to.
So there's a challenge there.
The seeds and then the climate, yes. In fact, pepper is even worse.
Green or normal pepper?
Pepper,
just general pepper.
Because you know pepper is more stubborn than
more resilient. More resilient.
Yes. You know. The pepper farmers they are going through hell.
Even with pepper that's supposed to be resilient,
even trying to do the nursery thing, crap,
it's not working.
The nursery, the outcomes can be devastating.
Meanwhile, we are getting some good rains this year, so you'd have hoped that with the rains, a lot of these crops will do better. But now that seeds are not germinating, now that tomatoes are not fruiting, you know, and already food is expensive. You know, the first guy said that from what he sees, the increase in tomato price will continue to next year.
Yeah.
You know, and we'll be importing more from Burkina.
Yeah.
So what are the Burkinabes doing that we are not doing?
We'll have to find out.
We need to, because
it could be irrigation.
We have better. I think we have better climate than they do.
I'll tell you what. Another thing we do is that we have solutions from the 90s and 2000s that we are trying to apply to today's problems. Okay. Now, one other challenge that we are facing, and I'm saying this first-hand information because I do visit the Eastern region quite frequently. You know what's happening? When you even finish your farm is due for harvesting, the labor that you require to harvest is not even there. Because if you drive along the villages, you notice that the betting companies have invaded. They have invaded the villages, and the youth prefer. No way. I mean, he goes to the farm. You know, they pay them between 40 and 50 cedis a day if they go and do harvesting on a farm. Okay, if he sits by the betting company, he has hope of getting 200 up to 500 cedis a day.
Serious?
Yes. So, you know, there's a shift. The labor is a problem. On the cocoa side, people are old. The average age there is 65.
Hold on. Let me talk to Amos Rutherford Azinu. He's one of our speakers for Friday's forum. He's with the Legacy Crop Improvement Center. Amos, thanks for joining us. This is the third listener who's complained about tomatoes, either seedlings not properly germinating or the tomato reaching fruiting but it's not fruiting. one of them sent a message from Ada, another sent a message from a different part of the southern part of Ghana. Can you relate with this? Because you are with seed and crop improvement. How is it possible for somebody to plant tomatoes to reach a stage of fruiting and the tomato is not fruiting? Is it the climate or the seed? What's going on?
Okay, thank you. Good morning to your cherry business. And okay, so you see the issue of the tomato seed is actually has to do with the type of seed that are nursed and transported for production and the cool night temperature. So let me explain that further. So when you go to our friends in Burkina Faso, you realize that they are producing a lot of tomatoes that they are feeding us with tomatoes. But their counterparts from France and other countries have done a better research into their climatic conditions, which means which are varieties that are actually adapted in those countries. And we realize that in Burkina Faso they have a hotter condition than us here. But because they have done better research to know which varieties are more resilient into those environments, they are producing more. They get varieties that are more adapted to their locality. And also, even though they are in a very harsh condition in terms of high temperature, there's something that we call a cool night temperature that actually the tomatoes need in the night. So even in the daytime, you may have a temperature in Burkina Faso being around 35 or 38 or even 40 degrees. At the night, that temperature can come down as to about 15 or 17. When it happens like that, then the tomatoes fruit actually fruit better and doesn't actually reduce abortion. You know, like our case here, if you are planting the tomatoes in a condition where the temperature is at 33 degrees in the daytime, by the night you can't get to the new 20, then there's a problem with the youth function and in development of that plant. So you realize that in Komikuma area, they put Palugu tomatoes factory far away in Palugu. So in the daytime back in the north, you realize that the temperature is very high. By the night, you have that cool night temperature for the tomatoes to actually fruit and give you a better yield. So because we have not done a lot of research into this vegetable system in Ghana is actually zero. We are importing everything. we are zero. So the vendors that go to outside in Europe, in America, wherever they go, they get something that they bring it here. It doesn't adapt to our locality in the climate variability that we have here. So that's the problem the farmers are facing in this area.
Could GMO be part of it? Some of the challenges with the seeds because they are genetically modified?
No. So the GMO issue is a very broad issue. GMO comes in to help in some aspects in terms of the disease resistance, drought tolerance, and heat. Actually, the GMO technology is supposed to help for somehow for heat tolerance and drought tolerance, all those kind of things. But if the seed will not be grown by GMO technology or itself, they have to develop the seed first. So the seed have to be a good fruit that gives a better fruit first. Then we look at what is actually the problem. So you can have a better tomato that is fruiting very well, but may be susceptible to a particular disease. So what the GMO technology comes to do is to fix that disease. So we get the trait fix into the tomato so that when the insect or that disease attack the plant, so the GMO itself does not directly give a better yield or better performance, but it comes to control a certain aspect of the environment in terms of disease or drought or heat tolerance.
But apart from tomatoes, which you explained about the low yield and the challenges, are other crop producers complaining? So, for example, is this affecting pepper as well? The point you make about not having enough research to get the right kind of seed and system to grow. Is this a tomato issue, or can we stretch this to pepper, onions, and other vegetables? We
actually stretch it everywhere. If I accept maybe maize and maybe rice, because those are the crops that actually the donors together with the government have invested some amount of research into it. So when we talk of vegetables, pepper and the rest, even okra, they are facing that. So you see, research is a continual process. So we may have a variety that is performing well to be. But in few years to come, that variety may not be, because one, if genetic makeup may have broken down. Two, the climatic condition may have changed. So that's why we need to develop another research to replace that in the coming years. But if you take the pepper that the farmers do, they normally call Legon 18. Legon 18, I guess, was a degree before I was born. Many years ago, the farmers still multiplied that as a variety, which I doubt that it is still two type of Legon 18 or whatever they are growing. But because after the release of that variety, the university have not done a lot of improvement. Because no matter how the variety is good, there will be a problem that we need to fix tomorrow morning. It's like a car or mobile phone industry. So yes, it may be good to do, but tomorrow when things are changing, its adaptation may change. And we need to fix it. And we can fix that through research.
Wonderful. So the point you made about tomatoes will also apply to onions, because as you know, Niger is the source of onions, and Niger is even drier than Burkina Faso. Again, is it that the onions that grow in Ghana, because our onions are redder and they cause the eye to tear. The ones we get from Niger are the orange types, which we seem to prefer but can't seem to grow. What's the situation with onions?
Yeah, so you're right. We also done a lot of research there. But you see, breeding a crop improvement is about consumer taste and preference. So actually, it's the consumer of the market that determines what the breeders must do. But in our case, we thought that we can just put it into the system and force the people to adapt. It will work. If the customers are saying or the consumers are saying they want only that when you are using it, your eyes doesn't get what kind of it, I don't know how to put it. Then what the research have to do, good watery. Fantastic, thank you. Then what the research have to do is to develop a variety that suits the market, the taste of the consumer. So when you research, you don't get it. Whenever they get it, they don't buy it. You understand? And the variety that the Nigerians are bringing to us is called the Ghanaian variety. It's not even improved variety. These are local risk variety that are going in Nigeria. Okay? So the question I keep on asking myself that how can we have not brought these trees here, these genetics here, to improve our product, to suit our market? And we allow our market women to go far away in Nigeria to bring those things here. It just tells you that as a people, as a country, we are paying little attention to research and development.
We'll talk to you on Friday for the Agribusiness Forum. Thank you very much, Amos.
Thank you, Bernard.
Rutherford. Dr. Amos Rutherford, as you know, is a Legacy Crop Improvement Center founder. Speaking at the program would also be Selom Agudu, who will be talking to later this morning, Daniel Fahini Akwe, who is from Agri Impact Limited, and Kwesi Kobo, who is from Gersel. That program is moderated by Vivian Kai. Look, if you want to be at that event to discuss understanding the agribusiness value chain, opportunities for additional revenue, you can call 0205-973-973. There'll be a mini exhibition also at that event. 0205-973-973. We have more comments. Nathan, maybe you can read more for us before we take some analysis.
Yes. A few more coming.
054-9986-996. Food prices going up. All markets being surveyed, and we are told production is affected, productivity is affected. Let's read a few of the comments.
Laji Chiso from East Legon, he is asking what has been the success of the PFG initiative so far. If the government still prides itself in this policy, then why are we facing a food shortage problem? We had the opportunity to prevent this problem, but we chose to play politics. This one says the reality of the ground is that politicians have employed thousands of people without an agricultural background into the agric sector who are now operating as extension officers. Unfortunately, people with the agric background are staying in the house unemployed because they don't have political connections. Yalabi and Sikuma. This one says the bigger picture is that eventually someone will have control over everything we plant and grow. We'll have to go begging at the door of a master each time for seeds, because with GMO, the seeds in the crops of vegetables are sterile. Okay, the watchword is control. I see.
That's Evan from
Yep. This one says the tomato issue reminds me of an Abroni Bay thing happening in some farms or some farm places. I experienced this when I was doing my thesis research. I was told that there are certain people who can apply certain kind of medicine in the dress they wear. I see. Okay. And they walk across the farm corners of a flourishing farm which belongs to another farmer they hate. And the end result is either the plants don't bear fruit or the entire plant will burn to the ground. I see Da Costa on the spiritual side. This was, I used to plant tomatoes at home. These days I plant it to grow to the flower stage, then it dies. Nothing we plant at home these days grows.
The seed you are planting is different. You are eating a different kind of tomato. Maybe that's the point.
Albert in Beling says, why
are you rushing?
Says we keep using chemical fertilizers for everything. Why will plants not fail to fruit? Albert in Beling. Gone are the days where we didn't regard farmers and their crops. Come to the Volta region. Oti region, even at Fram Plains, all farmers are selling their raw cassava to a company near Volo in the Volta region for beer production, just to ease the pressure and disrespect.
If they can use the beer for cassava, the cassava for beer is not such a bad thing. I mean, I'm not sure if cassava was listed in the top, because when I went through the inflation, cassava and yam were not in the top categories of prices. It was the vegetables. It was
there was carrot, there was
cabbage, there was tomatoes, garden eggs, and there was your kagari. You wanted to say something about storage. If you can just bring those
Bernard,
things.
I wanted to bring in the point of post-harvest losses, because as much as we are having issues with the farm, for some time we're able to increase our production. I'll tell you about that. So between 2009 and 2019, we expanded our tomato production from 318,000 tons to 420,000 tons. This is according to the FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization, United States. However, according to the Danish Embassy, we have an estimated post-harvest loss of vegetables and yam at the tune of $1.9 billion annually. 1.9 billion. If you break that down,
harvest losses, we've harvested it, but we haven't stored it well, so it's just gotten back.
Exactly. If you break that down, we're saying that yam we recorded, yam had the highest with 560 million per annum. Then you come to mango, which had $300 million. Tomato alone accounted for over $60 million per annum
of losses.
Exactly. So we have
processing, storage, all of that is also a challenge.
So reducing post-harvest loss. This is a paper I'm referencing. Says reducing post-harvest loss increases food availability for consumption. There's evidence from this. But the target of the various stakeholders in the tomato industry in Ghana has mainly been to focus on increasing the capacity of tomato production. However, farmers lose a huge chunk of their investment in tomato production as a result of post-harvest losses they encounter along the tomato value chain.
Wow. So this is not just a question of low production.
Exactly.
It's a question of lack of storage facilities and also processing capacity.
Very
so
true.
the tomato, as he said, tomato is May to December. August is where tomato is supposed to be a lot. But because the guys are not even having the thing fruit, we may have a shortage of tomatoes. The Agri Ministry may need to give us some comments on the vegetable situation. Emma said that because rice and maize have had a lot of investment, we have research, so we're able to grow varieties that do well. But we seem to have given up on the vegetable situation, and our production is not that great. And we've been importing from Burkina Faso and from Niger. We need to take a closer look at this.
Last point that I wanted to introduce, though, was that we've commissioned about 2 factories, tomato factories.
As in processing. So how are you going to get the raw material?
So there was a $23 million tomato processing factory that was commissioned in Afienya. There was another one the president commissioned in Domfete. And this was $16 million tomato processing factory. So it would be good to hear from the
them where
government
they are getting
how much we've even been able to process.
Because the Afienya one, obviously in the Accra Plains, there's a lot of tomatoes grown. If you come from
Adan,
even from Asuchari down, all right. So the question is, how much have their yields been affected by this new development? Because quite a number of people are texting saying that their seedlings are not growing and their tomatoes are not fruiting. It seems to me like a new development, which we have to. If the ministry is not aware, we have to draw their attention to it. Because this morning, as we focus on the tomato pricing, people are talking about the fact that the tomato itself is having challenges.
Coconut also comes for mention.
Okay.
Coconut. The price of coconut has just shot up by at least 200 to 300%.
Went from 2 cedis to 5 cedis in
200 to 300%.
Yes.
What's happening there?
Because people are turning to coconut oils now.
So now the oil demand.
And I'm telling you, once they hear that cocoa people are going to get more money, everybody sits up.
So you're still linking to this cocoa thing?
Oh, it's one of the factors, at least in the eastern region.
Because you know that
one of
the
factors,
Galamsey is affecting the cocoa now.
Oh, major.
Here's a comment from Yao. It says, good morning, Bernard. Please take a look at the above map for our water bodies in the country. The issue about our declining food production is mainly due to Galamsey. Galamsey is polluting and contaminating our water bodies, which unfortunately runs through our agricultural regions, affecting the quality of our farmlands. Secondly, the variety of seeds to do with GMO and economizing seeds is also a factor. This is Yao from the UK.
Look, 2 weeks ago, a friend of mine was trying to buy farmland from one of my villages, and so he called me and said, "Sames, so I need you to help me. Like, look, I want your intervention." So I started investigating. You know what? The entire family, when they heard me involved, decided to pay attention to the guy. It turns out that the reason they were reluctant to sell the land to the guy, that people were harvesting lands for Galamsey in the area. And they'll pay any and everything to get your land. Okay.
Including cocoa farmlands.
I'm talking about cocoa farmlands. You see, and the reason they were reluctant is that they didn't want their land to be used for Galamsey. So I had to reassure them that this person wants to do so and so and so and so. But there's a big but. Even if you refuse to sell your land for Galamsey, what will happen is that a lot of the channels of the streams that they divert will flood your land.
Somebody called and said that.
Yeah.
So they will deliberately destroy.
Well, they may not deliberately, but they are so interlinked.
So you can't even use the land for farming.
You end up losing everything. That's what's happening.
But this is crazy. So the water bodies are polluted, then the water course is diverted, and the land is taking over. Then you add it to climate change, seed production, lack of investment. We are sitting on a big time bomb. There's another question somebody is asking. I want you to comment. He said, Bernard, let's think about whether the dam spillage also affected the tomato farming in the Adan area, because I don't know whether the water came too much and that may have affected the land. I don't know.
Bernard, we said it right here that 3 to 6 months down the line, we'll start feeling it. We said it in this studio.
Yes.
I mean, it's not rocket science. It is affecting it. But you see, it also tells us about the resilience of our irrigation systems. Okay, that unfortunate dam spillage, if we had a more robust irrigation system, would have been useful in harvesting the same water. You get me? So
if we had...
So as for the issue of irrigation projects, it's no more an option. It's the way to go.
But is it that difficult?
Well, it requires a deliberate and a strategic approach to it. You don't just go and dig wells somewhere and say you have done irrigation.
One dam, one village.
Because if
you don't just dig wells.
When we went to Asuchari and you saw the water body and you saw the channels, and it looks like somebody actually built those canals.
It was built. It started under Kutu Achampon. I remember vividly.
So is it expensive? That's why we can't do more of it?
You see, what I'm saying is that what we call solution infrastructure, identifying the problem that is associated with a particular area and then building infrastructure to solve it. It's not a hit and run thing. This thing was built in the 70s, or was started in the 70s, and we still have it there. Governments have come and gone. Some have improved and expanded it. Okay, but so do we need the same thing in some parts of the Afram Plains, in some parts of the northern region. And we are talking about proper irrigation. It's not digging of wells. It's not. Because it's not sustainable. As we know, it's not sustainable. How can we have the Volta River stretching from the north to the south?
It's going into the sea.
And it's just passing by and going bye-bye to us and going inside the sea. When it vex, there go float small.
Thank you for your comments. The good news is that my interview this morning on the Business Festival On Air series is with a farmer, Salom Agudu. He's also going to be at the Friday event. And I was talking to him about greenhouse farming, urban farming.
Aquaponics and all of that.
Yes, so he had a lot to say about that. I'll add that in 10 minutes. Just wanted to take a couple of comments from Samens on what we're doing the rest of the month. So the On Air series are running. We're doing our Friday fora. This Friday, we're discussing agricultural value chains. Kwesi Krobo, Amos Azinu, and all the others will be there. But we also have a 5 or 6 day event.
But let me emphasize this: understanding agribusiness value chain, opportunities for additional revenue.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that's very important.
Yeah.
And I know for urban dwellers like us, the whole business of aquaponics, using the new, like you have one tall, it's as tall as the camera tripod we have there. Then you are able to, it's a system that has water integrated into it.
Yeah.
You use the water essentially to grow plants in your room. You can grow all kinds of vegetables and all of that. If properly done, Bernard, you become self-sufficient in producing tomatoes.
I have grown tomatoes on my porch. I went to buy bowls from Circle, big bowls.
Soil in it, yeah.
Soil in it. Did the nursery in one pot and then transplanted. And I have almost 17 of them that I'm planting tomatoes.
Wow.
Whoa. And I'm watching them grow. Every morning I go and spy it small.
So the event is it's a free event, but you call
have to register first,
0205 973 973.
Again, people live in Accra. You have money. Charlie, one day, wake up, drive to the Afienya area, drive to the Gomafete area, get a land, a breed they don't try. The land is gone already. Drive to Tichamante, those places. There are farmlands there. You buy 2-3 acres and start something.
Well, the Indians and the Chinese are buying plenty.
Start something, small. And it grows. That's how we are. I had a friend who started palm oil. He's a proper IT guy. He started about 6 years ago. He tells me that I have closed shop with IT. I'm now a full-time
farmer.
Oil palm in the central region somewhere. And he started with 5 acres. Now he has 50 acres.
The landowners, are they honest? Because we want to do it.
No, there are some land. Look, there are some. That's for land. The situation is better as you move away from Accra. I must say, you understand. What you normally will find is the person selling to you may not have the full blessing of the entire family. So you need normally you need to dig. Make sure, ask normal questions, and then So tomorrow is going to be very interesting.
I take that point.
At least I will tell.
We will
at 10 a.m.
Yes. Yeah. We will move into farming again.
Oh yeah, that's very important. We have to because as for that, if you don't do it, challenge dog will catch you.
Serious matter.
I mean, you have your Saturday. That's an inspiration to even go out of Accra.
Yes.
But majority of the times you are writing, right, or you are reading, or you are responding to something.
Yeah.
If you have the whole weekend, you go out of Accra to say Peki Blengo, you drive there, good car, then you are on your farm, a huge ranch
to give you
Charlie, you breathe good air, you have kukuluji laid in fresh, you have it, you collect it, and you come and do tea, water, everything is inside. In the afternoon, you have fresh. Okra. You go to the fish pond. You harvest. Charlie, fresh.
The good life.
Charlie.
Nalaski, you see, if the maize, you just plug the maize. And you don't have water there, so you put the full maize with the husk, everything inside the fire. Then the steam will boil the maize. Then you remove it.
You add coconut.